Okay, perfect.
Just leave it.
Can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
No.
Are we trying to?
Yeah, we were getting a volume side, but we can't hear anything from their side. Yeah. Right. Okay. And then I think we need to call in. Stick it there.
On the phone? Because we're not using WhatsApp, right?
No.
Okay, yeah.
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID followed by pound. Enter your participant ID followed by pound. Otherwise, check. Please enter the meeting password followed by pound. You are in the meeting now. There are 5 participants in the meeting. This meeting is being recorded.
Can you hear us now?
Councilor Hart, can you hear us?
Yes. Yes, I can.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Here.
I'm here.
I lost the big screen, but
Community and Economic Development Director.
I couldn't hear if Janice called my name. I'm just letting you know I'm here.
Thank you.
I can't hear Janet.
Do we have someone for the invocation? Yes, please come forward. I'll ask that you stand for the invocation and please remain standing for the pledge of allegiance.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and
Liberty and
justice.
justice for all.
Thank you, may be seated. Madam City Manager, I understand we have the wastewater treatment plant outstanding performance award.
Yes, thank you, Madam City Manager, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, members of council. Yes, this, once again, we did receive an award from ecology. Every year I'm just floored by this award. I think it's great. Really happy with my staff. And got a bunch of them came in tonight. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Coleman Miller with the Department of Ecology. He's going to present the award, and then we'll get a heads up here. We'll do a little photo op.
Thanks for having me. Again, my name is Coleman Miller from the Department of Ecology. We, as a department, we manage all the wastewater discharge permits. Actually, all discharge into any lake or stream or ocean or any even groundwater, any water in the state. We manage any kind of those bodies of water, and we take it real seriously. As Washingtonians, we really like our clean water. We appreciate protecting fish, whether it be salmon or other varieties of fish. We've been able to recreate in water and being able to be around water. That's important for us. And having clean water is very important for me as a citizen of Washington and as a community. And a big part of that is wastewater into those bodies of water. And, you have a really good team of wastewater operators and people in charge of the wastewater of the city, because I'm guessing you don't hear a lot about them. That's a good thing. We on the news, you read the newspaper, and you probably don't hear anything about wastewater in Sunnyside. Their job, right? You would hear about it, and that would be a problem. So this award is an outstanding performance award for the entire year. There's a lot of requirements for that permit, requirements that ensure that the water is clean before it goes back in the river. Also, reporting requirements and sampling, and just there's so much to do throughout the year to comply with the permit. And this performance award, this outstanding performance award, just signifies that all of that was completed 100%. Any violations in the it's really a good effort, and it's a reflection of a good team that's working hard and diligent and passionate about what they do. I'd like to recognize this team, and if they're here, why don't you guys go ahead and come up. We have Randy Peters, Angel Prieto, Hugo Morales, Silvano Hernandez, Alejandro Almaguer, Jorge Bautista, and Oscar Mendoza. He's a big part of it.
Well, he was the supervisor during the 2021. And he's the new supervisor.
First of all, I want to tell you guys, thank you for your hard work. You're very much appreciated.
Usually Jackie's.
I know, and I'm sorry, but I look really, really strong standing next to him. So I'm going to come on
I don't
this
know
side.
Council, let's go ahead and stand.
Thank you guys for your
Gentlemen, on behalf of the City Council, we want to thank you for your service to our city. Thank you. Want to shake the hand of the council you work with, Ben?
Hi, I'm Vicky.
I'm Randy. Thank you.
Hi, Vicky.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
always.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You guys don't have to stay for the meeting if you want to.
Congratulations, Ben. City Manager, it's feathering your cap, and Mr. Fisher, that's feathering your cap as well. I don't know how many times you've been out that award, but it's been quite a few times.
It's been 2 years that they never had it happen.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Council, questions, comments? Moving on to public comment. Member of the audience wishing to address the council, please approach the microphone, state your name and city of residence, and let us hear from you. If we show no public comment. Moving on. Council, moving on to consent agenda. Consent agenda consists of payroll vouchers numbered 119227 through 119241 and wire transfers as listed for $807,108.43 for the period ending on January 25th, 2023. Approved payroll vouchers number 119242 and wire transfers as listed for $11.83 for the period ending on January 31st, 2023. Claim vouchers, approved claim vouchers numbered 105450 through 105494 and wires transfers as listed for $178,032.49 for the period ending on December 31st, 2022. Approved claim vouchers number 105495 through 105536 and wire transfers as listed for $256,472.90 for the period ending on January 18th, 2023. Approved claim vouchers numbered 105537 through 105570 and wire transfers as listed for $928,536.09 for the period ending January 25th, 2023. Approved claim vouchers number 105571 through 105631 and wire transfers as listed for $117,392.54 for the period ending on February 1st, 2023. Are there questions or comments on the consent agenda? Does any member wish to remove an item from the consent agenda? Hearing none, what is council's desire on the consent agenda as presented?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Beeler, second by Hicks, that we approve the consent agenda as presented. Debate or discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, signal by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, no. I too vote aye, motion passes. Under the active agenda, council, we have one item to add to the active agenda without objection. We have an executive session pursuant to RCW 4231.10 sub G. No action expected taken. I'm going to add that as item 7 and move the adjourn to item 8. Okay. Active agenda, Amoresco Energy Savings Presentation. Consider approving funding for lighting upgrades in all city buildings. Madam City Manager, can you brief the audience and council on this item?
I will turn this over to Director Fisher for comment on the public works portion of it. This has actually been a combined project between myself, Jameson, and also Mr. Sanchez. We've all torn this up and down and some stuff trying to get it together. So I'll let Mr. Fisher start.
Manager, Deputy Mayor, members of council. So what we did for this project is we actually broken it into two. It's a separate piece, and the We did that partly because trying to figure out how we're gonna to spread the distribution of costs for the mechanical. Mechanical is roughly about $1 million worth of is obviously sorely needed, but the lighting was a much easier project to kind of get going right now. We, Jameson, I think, actually included, I think it made it into the breakdown for how the distribution of those costs goes, and that's just for the lighting, to spread out amongst the buildings that are. So with that, we have Amoresco is here tonight, as well as Chris with Department of Enterprise Services. Have Kathleen come up and talk a little bit about the program and just kind of refresh your memories on how this works. And Kathleen.
Welcome.
If you would, from
bring some of the two is permitted. So that will be the max. And if it comes in over budget, that's on us. We have to. But if it comes in under budget. Our monitoring for 1 year. We met everything that was, and we will strive to make sure that if for some reason we'll continue scenario is for whatever reason, intention is to protect public lands. So in that proposal, you have your max.
Council members, questions, comments?
Do we
I
know
can't-
roughly what supply is on this complete?
There's the lighting and for
That it broke out?
it is in the packet.
The packet online.
The lighting was like 11.
Do you have a rough idea of how long it'll take to?
It should be a fairly quick project. I don't have those dates in front of me. But we anticipate once we get going, we're very. An 11.3 years, estimated utility incentive is $24,540. So the project will cost $281,880, or $869. The actual cost of.
A lot of places we really need it like this one.
Exactly, and I think at every single meeting I've had with Kathleen, I've complained that we need to start sooner because we're becoming darker and darker in all of our buildings, so.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Other questions, comments from council?
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am. Go
I
ahead.
can't hear the audio from the council chambers there. I can't hear very much of what you're saying. Is there a mute button that we need to undo? I couldn't hear your presenters at all.
So can you hear me at all?
I can hear you.
It's the closeness of the microphone to your lips. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, Elizabeth, but I can't hear the mayor or the presenters.
Can't hear me?
Now I could hear you.
Okay.
Is that better?
Is that better, Ms. Hart?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, no worries.
All right.
Okay. Did you have a question, ma'am?
No, I didn't have a question, except I can't hear you.
No worries. No worries.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Other questions, comments, council? This comes to us as a suggested motion to approve, right? You want us to move forward on this?
That would be great.
Would entertain a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Ripley, second by Beeler, that we approve funding for lighting upgrades at all city buildings. Later discussion on this item.
Where are we getting funding for this?
I think we already said, didn't we?
I can speak to this. If you go to page 139 of the presentation, it has a funding breakdown.
I'm pull up your Excel just a moment.
Page 97 is.
There you go. So most of this, a bit of it is coming out of the REIT funds. It does qualify for those as capital improvements. And so everything park related came out of REIT 2, and all the other general fund items came out of REIT 1. And then other funds are paying for their own improvements. So this does fund through the budget and maintain the minimum fund balances required for each fund.
Council, questions, comments? Other debate? Hearing none, would you please call the roll, Dixie?
Councilor Ripley?
Yes.
City manager or city
It's okay.
Mayor.
Deputy Mayor. Yes.
Councilor Bueller?
Yes.
Yes.
Councilor Hart?
Yes.
The mayor, you have 5 yes votes in favor.
Thank you. Motion passes. Thank you, council. Moving on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Item B, 2023 comp plan amendments opening. Consider approving a resolution authorizing the opening of the 2023 comprehensive plan amendment process. Madam City Manager, can you brief the audience and council on this item?
I'm sorry. Very interesting. I will actually turn this over to Mr.
Evening, City Council. So what I have before you is a simple resolution. Once a year, the state of Washington opens their comprehensive plan amendment process. And
Safe travels.
And this is our time for any residents within the city, any applicants around the city, anybody interested in city of Sunnyside property, or even the city of Sunnyside to amend and change the underlying future land use designation and update any sort of comprehensive plan language that we want to do, or any resident or. But it's just a simple annual process. Usually opens up about this time of year and usually wraps up all the paperwork. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Council members, questions, comments? Chart, do you have any questions?
This is to open up to develop the comprehensive plan, is that correct? To begin that process?
Make any amendments or changes to the existing comprehensive plan.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions, comments? Council, what's your desire?
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion by Ripley, second by Hicks, that we approve a resolution authorizing the opening of the 2023 comprehensive plan amendment process. Any other discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. I two vote aye, the motion passes. Item, purchasing and procurement policy. Consider adopting an ordinance to repeal the applicable sections of the SMC. Madam City Manager, can you brief the audience and council on this item?
I'll turn this over to Ms. Warner.
Thank you, Madam City Manager. We update our purchasing and procurement policy. There were many items of it that were listed in the Sunnyside Municipal Code, and they hadn't been updated in more than a decade, some of them. And these rules change by federal and state law often. So in updating that policy, we would like to go ahead and remove these sections from the municipal code because they're basically obsolete. I have included a copy of the administrative policy that we'd like to put in place for purchasing and procurement that is up to date with all of the proper rules and regulations regarding purchasing with both federal and state and local funds. So that is what we are looking at doing. Some of the main changes that we want to see in this new policy have to do with designating certain contracting authority and spending limits to the city manager. And most of those items I could go over with you in the policy if you'd like more information. But basically, the amount that the city manager is authorized to spend at this point is only $7,500 without council approval. And that is far too low for unexpected situations or budget enhancements that may not need to be, that may be insignificant in the grand scheme of things, but items need to get purchased. So those are some of the main things that we have looked at changing in this. The current policy proposes increasing that amount for the city manager to $50,000, which is quite a big jump, and I understand that, but there are also various sections of the policy that indicate that those purchases are the responsibility of the city manager and to make sure that they fall within council policies and that there is budget available and those other items. So I'd be happy to answer questions regarding this or go over any sections of the policy if you would like to.
Some questions, comments?
Mr. Mayor, to Ms.
Ma'am.
Horner, what is the current minimum for competitive bidding?
If you go to the policy that we put in, that we're proposing to be put in place, it's on page 160 of our council packet. I don't know if Janet can get there.
Can she get there, please?
Yeah. There's actually a chart that I put in here.
Take a look at that, please.
Yeah. Or I can share my,
Or share your screen, whatever is
it's
easier.
100 and it's page number 160 of the agenda packet.
Correct, but she's working in your policy document, you know, what page it is on your. Right.
Or I can share what I have if that's easier for you guys. Oh, no, I can't. Never mind.
Nice try.
While she tries to get there, I'll just talk these through for you.
Thank you.
So it depends on the type of purchase, and all of those items are laid out in this policy. But for like public works projects, anything over 116,000 for multiple craft projects or 75,000 for single craft projects have to go to formal competitive bidding. And then like for goods, and so if you scroll down a little farther, keep going. it's page 6 of this document. So if you see the page numbers, there you go. So see on the left-hand side of this graph or of this chart are the purchasing thresholds. The middle column shows the type of purchasing process that we need to use. And the right-hand column shows who is the required person to approve the purchase. So like I was saying, the public works items for federal funds projects, more than 75,000 or 116,000. And then for non-federal funds, so state projects, we can use the small works roster up to 350,000 actually, if it has no federal funds associated with it. And then there's another page of this document. So if you scroll down a little bit, goods, equipment, and supplies not related to public works, there's different thresholds for all of these items. And then other purchases based on architectural, telecommunications, professional and personal services. So all of these have been updated to coincide with regulations and to show who is the required person to approve these types of contracts.
As you can see, it's quite complicated, and that's really why we wanted to put it into an internal administrative policy so that we can follow these rules, and if somebody asks for our policy, we can hand them the policy and they can how to do procurement.
Council, questions, comments?
The only comment I would have is we set policies before because we ran into problems. And I'm not saying we're gonna run a problem with you, but you're not gonna be here forever. And, you can go $49,000 without letting council know, that could add up real quick.
Can I speak to that quickly? Council will always, as you do every meeting, you do have to approve the claim vouchers. And so council will always be advised of every purchase that is made by city staff. In addition, if I believe the first page 1 of the policy sets out the monitoring and compliance portion. And it specifically says that there are personal penalties, financial liabilities, and or discipline for misuse of these funds. And in addition, there are rules and regulations outside of this that will have to be followed. So I am not super concerned about it, but I understand the council being concerned about it. So if you scroll down scroll down right there, monitoring and compliance talks about willful or intentional violations. The authorization portion is just below that. And that again says subject to disciplinary action. And then if you scroll down just a bit more, here is the list of things that council is required to approve directly, either through the budget process or through direct council action or a budget amendment of some sort. So none of these types of contracts can be approved solely by the city manager or a department head. And then if you would scroll down a little more when you guys are ready, if you're ready to move on from that list, is the council, or is the city manager portion. So this is where it lists what she or any city manager would be able to approve, in addition to designating her procurement authority and delegating procurement authorization to department directors and the like. So all of this very clearly says that every fund has to be reasonably able to accommodate the purchase, and that nothing can be purchased counter to the policies set by the city council.
Thank you, ma'am. Other questions, comments?
Throw the scenario out there. We had the lights go out on YB Cog up there by Walmart. Rush meeting funds to get it fixed, and I think the city manager has to have the availability of fixing right city Manager, I think we won't have a problem with this.
And if I could, say, as far as I'm concerned, you know, you have a comfortableness level with me, but in any circumstance, when you have essentially an employee of the city council, you're disobeying the policy, you do have that disciplinary action there. And I realize that in the past, somebody encumbered us for over $100,000 over 5 years. I would hope that that would be something that also is monitored by the council if you find something out, and then obviously that would be a part of the and I'll be quite frank with you, I wouldn't want to make a decision to lose my job, and I'm probably in fact bringing most of it to you if it's at all able to be done. Something that we have to time constraints on, then maybe I would make a decision on. In my opinion, contracts come to council for review. That's just easy and it's something we can do. And otherwise, the only times when I would make those decisions, it has to have a deadline that is before I can city council.
Thank you, Madam City Manager, and I appreciate that, and I hope you understand the council's concerns here.
Yeah, it's future concerns, not necessarily present concerns.
No, correct, exactly. And council, I spoke with the manager at length when I talked about what transpired in the past and why we changed this rule. And I actually am quite impressed with this document. I mean, this kind of outlines every possibility, so I really appreciate that.
I'll give credit to Ms. Warner because this is her reading document. I really had to do very little input or anything. Thank you.
Other questions, comments? What is your desire?
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion by Beeler, second by Ripley, that we adopt an ordinance to repeal the applicable sections of the Sunnyside Municipal Code. Debate on this item. Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. I two vote aye, the motion passes. Thank you. I should say this ordinance and ordinance summary are adopted and will be enforced at 5 days after signature. Moving on to item D, Yakima Valley Highway Overlay Project. Consider approving a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a fuel tax agreement with the Washington State Transportation Improvement Board for the reconstruction of the Yakima Valley Highway. Madam City Manager, brief the audience and council on this item.
I'll turn this over to Public Works Director.
Mr. Manager, Deputy Mayor, members of council. So this is another TIB grant we applied for at the end of last year.
Mr. Fisher, if you could get your microphone closer to you.
Sorry.
Really close, like,
Is that better, Julia?
now.
Thank you.
Hear me? So anyway, so this is the last section of YVH that we have left to grind and overlay. And I know that a lot of people have been complaining about over the last 3 or 4 years, but TIB, believe it or not, didn't think it was bad enough to use. So they have given us a grant, $329,580. Our match is $36,620. We've taken out of the TBD proceeds, Restoration Benefit District proceeds. So looking to try to get that done this summer.
Council, questions or comments?
Is that a complete relay or is that 2-inch top?
They'll do some taper grinds, but it's roughly about 2 inches. There's a section, that's the old highway, there's a section of concrete, the same concrete that's up Schooner over you're at. So, but yeah, they'll grind that out, they'll do some taper grinds on the edges. Now, TIB will only pay for the travel lanes and the center turn lanes. I think they'll pay, it's 36 or 46 feet of, and they'll do a little bit of prep work, but anything outside of those areas, which are shoulders, is YV that are super wide, we have to come up with that out of our own pocket.
Is that just gravel right now?
No, it's, well, on the west side it is.
Okay.
There's also about an 8-foot section of asphalt that they will not remove. So we will have to pay for that out of our own pocket. We will come, once we have hired a contractor to do that, we know what that is, we'll come back to council and get an approval for that additional.
You think we're good with TIB?
Yes.
Okay.
They'll do both repairs together?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, at the same time. We just have to flip the bill for for our portion that they will.
Council questions, comments? What is your desire?
To approve.
Second.
By Beeler, second by Hicks, that we consider approving a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a fuel tax agreement with the Washington State Transportation Improvement Board for the reconstruction of Yakima Valley Highway. Debate or discussion on this item? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, no. 2 vote aye, motion passed. Thank you, council. Items from council members. We don't have any mayor's appointments, boards or commissions. Council request status report.
Those things that are on there, I've been thinking about one that we might want to add or at least consider. I don't remember that it's on here. But Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, I just burst into flames there. I'm sorry. But on the case status report, do we have anything in there about how we are going to actually deal with the old equipment out on Yakima Valley Highway there along that portion of highway between McDonald's and Pizza Hut?
And actually, if I could, Mr. Fisher and I have been working with Greg Schlief. This is his project that was started with Dawn Day. And he has a very, not sure how to say it, aesthetic that he would like us to improve with planter barrels and flowers, and to make it look nice. We are waiting for the equipment to be put in, and as soon as the equipment's going to be put in, we will actually do a border in it, and it will look a lot nicer. But right now, we're really, honestly, there's several things that need to be finished before we can go anywhere with this, and it is all in Greg Schlief's.
Well, thank you. My question is that going to continue to be gravel? Is it going to be some sort of concrete pad? Are we going to be able to have lights, some sort of lighting situation out there? Flower barrels, yeah, but the lighting situation so people could see them in the evening as they go down through that portion of town. And thinking further out towards Christmas holidays as well. But is that all in Greg's plan, or is that part of the city's plan?
So this really wasn't ever a city project. This has always been Greg Schlief's project. We just put in gravel to accommodate the farm implement placement. If we decide to do improvements, that would need to be a part of a budget discussion, and I think that's where it would be appropriate. Because if we want to put any kind of barrels or anything, we need water, so we would have to have a water connection to that section, and we also would need power. As far as lighting, I do believe that is fairly well lit by the street lights.
Well, I understand the street lights. I'm talking about lighting on the equipment, like we've done downtown. Does that make sense?
We don't have any plans for that at this point. It would take additional connection for electricity. So that would be the biggest thing we have to look at. And really, honestly, this has been kind of Greg's spearhead project since the inception of it.
Other questions, comments? Other items on the council staff report, do you have any items to add, council, or do you want to talk about any of the items that are currently on there?
It goes so fast, I can't catch up.
So I would like to point out that we did have discussions held at the 126 public. The chief is currently working with Zilla and Grainger ordinances to develop a best fit for Sunnyside based on guidance. We anticipate presenting an ordinance within the next 30 days, and that's for fireworks.
Other items? Council, moving on to other reports, announcements, and or questions by council. Why don't we just start at the end? Mr. Beeler, do you have anything?
I have nothing at this time.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hicks? Quickly.
Nothing at this time.
Thank you. Ms. Hart, do you have anything for reports?
Only that I need to set up a meeting with Mr. Beeler and Mr. Hicks, reference finance and administration information we talked about earlier. And I will be getting with both of those gentlemen, and I will include you in that email when we can pick a date. I believe that Tuesday at noon is a preferable time for Mr. Hicks. I'm hoping it's the same for Mr. Beeler. Is that going to be working out for you
Correct.
for a committee meeting, Mr. Beeler?
Is correct.
Thank you. Also, I did want to say kudos to the Senior Citizens Center and the Miss Sunnyside Court for holding their Valentine's Day dance last Saturday. I understood it was really well attended. I wasn't able to go myself, but from the pictures and the comments I read, it sounded like it was a really fun thing. And then just another example of how the Miss Sunnyside Court does help to do some community service within our community, and also working in conjunction with some of the elders of the community. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Hart. Okay, moving on to upcoming council meetings. Number one, February 27th.
So we have on February 27th, the water and sewer rate amendment, executive session for 20 minutes to evaluate qualifications of an applicant, performance of a public employee, possible action, and the gateway signs agreement. March 6th, we have the workshop, which will be a reception as well, held at the community center. It's going to be the swearing in and pinning of staff, and this will be for both our fire and police department. And March 13th, we're hoping to have the second portion of the Amoresco energy savings, which would be.
Council, questions or comments on upcoming council meetings? Moving on. Interim department.
So I will actually start with Fire Chief Anderson.
Thank you, City Manager and Deputy Mayor, Council members, good evening. Just a couple updates for us. We've been working real hard on that time of year for grant applications. And so Assistant Chief Sullivan and I have spent days last week and long into the early morning hours. And with the City Manager to get one grant off for the Assistant Firefighter Grant. We asked for to replace 6. We have some outdated non-FDA compliant monitors in the station. We asked to replace those to FDA compliant. We also requested 4 electric stretchers for the ambulances and the power load system that goes with it. To minimize low impact joint and back injuries to our staff, and also protect patients from stretcher drops and whatnot. This next week, actually today, I spoke with Raquel Crowley from Senator Murray's office in reference to the powerhouse project down here that we kind of discussed at the public safety. Gave me some sort of advice and guidance in that. And then Chief Sullivan, myself, and possibly Chief Hawker will be attending the legislative session for the fire chief at the end of this week. Also, if I may, I'd like to hand it over to Chief Sullivan so he can talk about the other.
Thank you, Chief Anderson, City Manager, Mr. Mayor, and council members. As Chief Anderson alluded to, we are working on some other grants. I think more importantly is recognizing our deficiency in resources, firefighting resources. So we are going to go after a SAFER grant. SAFER standing for staffing and adequate fire and emergency resources. So basically, our manpower load, as well as for human retention. So, in increasing those firefighting resources, we hope to improve our WSRB rating. will be going after that. In addition to, we are looking at some funding for the fire station. So we're working on that as well. There's a lot out there that we can tap into, and I think we can be pretty small going after this grant, especially at no cost.
Yes, I'm sorry, that jogged one of my memories there. So with that, Chief Sullivan brought up the recruitment and retention program. That actually directly affects the volunteers and actually helps recruitment even for new employees. And so, with that, I have had some discussions with Chief Mason. We may be, if council is interested, we may be considering, going out on from a regional perspective and approach. That would require, I believe, an ILA though, to be established. Thank you, Sunnyside. Thank you, Chief.
Lynn?
I just have some stats for you guys, and then I'll give you a couple updates. So, from the 123 meeting up to current, we handled 498 incidents, 115 traffic stops, 39 arrests, 23 criminal non-traffic, 21 criminal traffic, and 52 traffic infractions. The jail is now more open than it was a year ago, obviously. So January 2022 to January 2023, there was a revenue increase of $53,880 in the jail for that 1 month from 1 year to the next. We also raised our rates, which we're allowed to do by contract, and brought in an extra $3,000 in the jail just in the month of January. We submitted a grant to Parker Youth Sports Foundation for sports equipment that we can give out to kids. We asked for $500, and the plan is that officers will buy soccer balls or basketballs. They'll drive around, see kids in the park, be able to give it to them. From my understanding, talking to my contact on the board, they raised that from $500 to $1,000, and last I heard it was 8 to 0 on approved, so we should. And then we're going to be looking at some grants with Legends Casino.
I got one quick update. Just on the 6th Street project, we're finding all kinds of really interesting water lines and sewer catch basins. The road has been closed down. I think we initially had talked about it being 3 months. We're having to kind of modify that. We're having some issues with the railroad. They're not wanting to give us approvals when we want them. So we actually finally got the permit from them to do the jack and bore under the tracks. So we got roughly about 160 feet of 20-inch casing that we'll hammer underneath the railroad tracks, about 8.5 feet down. And then that's what the 12-inch water main will go through. So it just takes a little bit longer. We're talking with all the businesses. Anybody who's impacted, including myself and Rolf Sanchez, Colbert Construction, who's a contractor on the job, and HLA, who's doing the inspections. We're kind of going over the top with the communication, but we're just active manager or to you guys. But if you guys do anything from the community, please give me a call or let Elizabeth will address it.
I don't have too much for you. There are some housing projects that I have on my desk right now. They're making their way, one of them will be making their way past council in a little bit. But they're multi-family. One of them's along YVH, and the other one's along Saul Road. So if you see some big yellow signs, this is what I have right now.
And then from my desk, just a reminder that I will be attending the Action Days conference in town tomorrow afternoon, so that I don't have to do the pass at dark. And then I will be attending the meetings with the legislature. And then it occurred to me, it's my birthday on Friday, and I have a birthday party on Saturday. So I'm actually going to ask for the weekend off and allow Mr. Martin to continue as acting city manager until Tuesday. Thank you. That's really all I have, and
Okay, council will now adjourn to executive session pursuant to RCW 4231-10 sub G to evaluate the qualifications of an applicant for public employment or review the performance of a public employee. However, subject to RCW 423140 sub 4, discussion by a governing body of salaries, wages, or other conditions of employment to be generally applied within the agency shall occur in a meeting open to the public. And when the governing body elects to take final action, hiring, setting the salary or of an individual employee or class of employees, or discharging or disciplining an employee, that action shall be taken in a meeting open to the public. We'll be out for 10 minutes and no action is expected.
Elizabeth, are you wanting me to stay in here for this? Elizabeth? Hear you guys if you can hear me.
Can't hear her either.
Okay.
It's no.
Looks like they're still trying to figure it out. And she's still live streaming, so they'll have to figure all that out too.
Where's your puppy? Show me your puppy.
Oh, hold on. Let me get him. Pico, come here.
I need a puppy fix. Oh, there he is. He's a cutie pie.
Yeah. He's the best.
Yeah. Mine are taking naps. Finally, they're quiet.
Yeah, this one was making noise earlier, so I had to put him in the other end of the room.
Mhm. I went and got emotional service dog certification for my two.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We talked about doing that with this guy because my husband has.
In any case, yeah, it's a good thing to do for if you're traveling or.
Well, we were supposed to be traveling. I was on vacation last week and
Yeah,
it's really nice to have this little guy with us. So
it really does calm people down.
Yeah.
Calms me down. I get a little agitated.
Mhm.
I usually like to have them in my lap. They're all
I
over.
don't know if Elizabeth, I don't know if you can hear us. It doesn't look like she's
It
responding at all.
doesn't look like.
Because it still says live streaming. I just want to make sure they say. It said recording ended, but it still says custom live streaming.
Elizabeth, what?
We do not know how to make it work in the executive session because Janet hasn't done this before. So we're gonna do you and Jameson over the phone.
Okay.
And let me get her in.
Okay. She's going to call you too.
Okay, I'll just get off Zoom then.
Yeah,
Are you going to call my cell, Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure you are. Food and drink.
Yeah, I got you. Yep, there's the.
Down back. Pancakes and waffles. Is that peanut butter and jelly?